Okay,
let's see the
this is
summer
my
cut.
summer cut. I might have to do. No, I haven't made it all fancy yet. What do you think? Can you see it?
Nice. I
Oh,
can. Look at that. Sure. Okay. Well, actually, I'm used to you seeing you that way. Anyways, good for you.
yeah,
Good
it
for
got
you.
kind of shaggy, and my godmother doesn't live far, so we did a little distanced, masked up haircut, and I like
Nice.
it. Feels good.
Nice.
Nice thing
Good for
about
you.
hair is it grows.
It grows back. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
right.
well, it's really nice to see you. Thanks for
Yeah. Good to
jumping
see you.
on.
My
Hmm.
pleasure. Always fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm gonna set this back up over my
All right.
desk.
I'll do that too, and we'll get it going.
And I was thinking about you because, I mean, one, I always get a huge kick out of hanging out with you. Turns out you're like almost as fun to hang out with online as in person. So I'm looking forward to when we can sketch together and hang out again.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
but yeah, I finally bit the bullet and I thought, hey, I really want to share these really cool brush pens with Art Toolkit. And it brought back these really nice memories of back in the day hanging out with you, and you inspired me to check it out. Art Toolkit.
Oh,
And
there you
had,
go.
you had some really inspiring sketches. And I wondered if you might share kind of how you found the pen a little bit and share some of your sketches. Because one, you're an amazing artist.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
as I'm already seeing too, you're like way better at people and these things than
um,
I am. And yeah, thanks for.
yeah, no, well, I just got some new earbuds, so I'm kind of happy since I'm doing more on these classes. It's easier for me to use them versus people talking and filling up the space with my kids trying to sleep or whatever. This is nice.
Yeah.
But I started out with this guy. Uh, so I was trying different brush pens because for one thing, when I do want to sketches, I really wanted to do some when I'm outdoors or if I'm waiting for my daughter. At the time my daughter was really young, so we'd go to the little gym and I would wait for her. So I would go to drop her off, or I would sit there and sketch people, or go to Starbucks. And I was trying to figure out a good pen I could use, black ink, so I don't have to do any sort of dip pen. I would just start, put a nice little line and then put some watercolor um, inside, just kind of give it a little volume. And I finally, again, I tried. This is my first one. This is a pretty fancy one here. This is a Sumi pen, so it's actually a wolf hair.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, I know. And it has, it's still a cartridge, but it's water soluble. The ink's water soluble. So
Hmm.
I use this for my little sketches, like this. Oh, let's get this one. Oh, here we go. I have a small little black and white sketchbook like this.
Oh, I love your
Um,
little ones. Uh-huh.
yeah, and so what I do is the nice thing about this, I do the line work and then I can grab a little water and I can just kind of create these little midtones here in these volumes. So
Yeah, you get
this
such good
is
value range. Uh-huh.
right, just with a little water. So this is what I use this one for. And I just do this, with these guys, just, if I'm waiting for people, this is older. So this is Imagination Station over here in Everett, and just people just hanging out, waiting for their kids. And so I just do little sketches, busted out if my kids are hanging out.
I think I remember
So
that sketchbook when Stella was just born. We might have gone to the zoo, and your daughter's like off being an independent young, I don't know, 4 or 5 year old, and I had this little baby with me.
yeah. So
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love
just
those.
yeah, it's little sketches of people. Usually they don't see you, and that's great. And then I kind of figured out. Then I got some other ones. Like I know someone mentioned earlier about there is a gray Pentel. So this is the Pentel ones, and so these are the Sumi ones also that I have. And so you get.
Yeah.
I think these are a set. But yeah, this is the gray and the sepia and the black. But these are still water soluble. So but
They're
like I
also a
also
lot longer than this Pentel one. You inspired me to check these out too. And I remember,
right.
yeah.
But there's different ways to sketch, and then but once this is nice for just doing value studies and just quick sketches. You just gotta a little brush pen and the this, and you just do this. But then finally I figured out that they have this Pentel brush pen, and here this one is great because again you have that little um uh you can refill it. You don't have to do the little dip pen and suck it up, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty easy, and it is permanent. So once it dries, you can do watercolors on top of it. So just like you see here, um, you can see that I just did a quick ink, and then I just did you know, some watercolors on top. And of course, I'm using my pocket palette. Of course, why would not? Why would I not? But this is kind of my set, so I carry it around in the original, maybe one not pretty close to the original, um, the whole kit and caboodle here, and so
Yeah,
I'm
you've
able
got all
to.
of my earliest stuff, and your those sketches of people inspired me. Like this is from 2014, and after seeing your sketchbook, my faces are not as expressive maybe as yours, but I really love that those bold colors you did, and you kind of helped give me permission to exaggerate and heighten colors some. You know, I tend to be kind of a realist at times, and watercolor is so sneaky that it dries lighter than when you put it on. But
Oh, it looks nice though.
I love how gestural the pen is and the kinds
Yes.
of marks you can make. Yeah, I'll just show people a couple things. So yeah, it's got this really like flexible bristle point. So it's little hairs versus just like you know, a little put together nib. And with it, you can do both like fine lines, and then you can lay it on its side and get these really nice dry brush. And something that I always like to play around with, it's kind of a habit for me when I get a new brush, is I'll often sketch bamboo. So I'll lay a brush on its side and do, you know, a little 1, 2, 3, and then you can do, here my vocabulary is like escaping me, what you would, those little joins, and play with lifting up a pen or a brush, putting it down to get those little branches. And this is taken from having lived in Japan a bit when I was younger, and my brush maker friend practice strokes over and over when I was like 11. And playing around with these kind of one stroke leaves you can do of putting your pen up, down, lifting it up, and trying to get a point. And I just really like that this pen can get this whole range pretty successfully. Ooh, look at those. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so no, that's the nice thing about it. The only reason why I like the brush pens is I can try to continue to try to master brushwork or brush strokes, you know, being very bold. And you know, one thing about ink, once it's down, it's down. And so this forces me to really focus, see what I'm drawing. So this is our Great Wolf Collage in 2010, and or 2018. And so, you know, just practicing line work. This is, you know, using just working on sketches. People in my classes, I would just bust this out, and I would just do some gestural sketches of people while they're painting in my classes, or just any sort of, also just random drawings, and really focusing on drawing what you see and not what you don't see. A lot of times we're always kind of battling with that. So this forces you
Yeah.
to really draw what you see. But I'm all
Yeah.
excited because you're drawing, and I want to draw now. I'm trying to find a page. Just some guy with his kilt. I thought it was pretty interesting. He had this leather jacket and this kilt. I thought it was an interesting look, to say the least.
Another thing too, I mentioned this already, but the thing about practicing with pens is you can really get those strong values. And I feel like as an artist and practicing, that having an awareness of light and dark and punching up those dark darks is one of the best things you can do for giving your sketches or paintings that contrast and kind of pop. Make those darks dark is something any of my students has heard me say like 20 times.
Right. And one of the biggest things, you want to try not to lift the pen off the paper and do almost like a contour drawing, because what that does is that also gives you a little bit of form versus trying to draw the outline. And so as artists, we're trying to create something three-dimensional out of a two-dimensional space. So if you just work on, and that's, you know, thick and thin, you know,
Mm-hmm.
creating a thick and thin line, that is really, you know, just, you're gonna burn through some paper. It doesn't have to be a fancy sketch pad. It can just be some copy paper you have in, you know, at your home, just to your copier. The nice thing about ones that are even running out of ink. Like I have quite a few of these. Look, listen, I just have these guys in the same one, just they have different amounts of ink on
And
them
you know,
inside of
Che,
them.
you can put new cartridges in them.
Right. But when you put a brand new cartridge in it, see, like that one is a brand new cartridge. Look at how dark that is. That's just like,
Uh-huh.
that's like darkness, right? So I know that's my dark one, right? And then I think one of these is my really super, like almost running out. No, that's not it. This guy.
Ah.
Here we go. See, this guy's almost running out. Look at the difference in the stroke. Because there's hardly ever any ink in there, or hardly any ink in there. So I'm able to create a little bit of a different volume by just, maybe holding it differently. You don't got to hold the pen like this. You can hold it like this. Think of it. It's just you have to, just drag the side of it. So there's these rules. Don't worry about the rules. Create a mark, make a mark. I do harass people because that's kind of my nature, and I love harassing, especially you, Maria.
And that is
about
why I love you.
your scratchy style of like, I like, it's like you're drawing with a
you mean
rock.
like this one?
Oh
just
my
listen,
goodness, yes.
just listen. Let's see. I don't know if you can quite hear it.
Oh, I can hear
I
it.
do
Trust
love
me.
it, but they're like total contrast, and I like pushing myself in opposite directions.
that one is something else.
You'll come
I don't
around
know.
someday, Che.
I don't. Well, I do like fountain pens, so I do collect fountain pens. I used to do more before I had kids. Now I can't justify buying a expensive fountain pen when my kids, they might need something. But again, it's just about, and the nice, well, again, this is these pens, which I'm so happy you're actually going to be offering these, for the fact that I think it's a nice, it completes the set in my mind, when you have the pocket, we got the pocket, you got the little palette, and then you have your water brush pen, and then this and the sketchbook. And I think that right there is like the trifecta. I think you got it down. It took you forever to figure to get to this point, girl.
I love these, that they a lot of my fancy pens are longer and don't quite fit in my toolkits, my small toolkits.
Right.
The big ones hold them, but this little one fits like just right in a pocket art toolkit too.
Right.
So it kind of broadens my options of what to play with. And oh, look how those darks, you can just lay them on so quickly.
Yeah,
and you get that nice value contrast.
Correct. And this is just one of my little sketchbooks here, and
I'm just copying you.
Oh, I'm not even drawing. I'm not even knowing. I'm maybe figuring. Okay, well, I'll pause. I didn't even know what I was drawing. I was drawing a face, but I was just mostly just listening and talking, just jamming. That's a nice thing about doing what I do. Sometimes it's good to just take your mind out of it and just create a space.
Well, I love that you can carry too, like little sketchbooks, and like what you were saying of hanging out with your daughter and having something you can just quickly mock up, and you're not spending an hour on a sketch. You can do something in just 3 minutes and get that practice in refining your hand and your eye.
Yeah, I fit them all in here. I fit them all in here. I mean, now that my daughter's older, we don't do those things anymore. But I still leave these in my car. But it's been, now that. But no, everything fits right in here. That's what I love about this thing, Maria. You know what? Yes, I am a homer. I love Maria's. I love the pocket toolkit. I will continue it to scream it at the top of the mountain for many, many years to come. So I even my students, they understand that, like, Che, and they're like, where'd you get this? And let me show you something. Let me tell you. Let me show you what you need. And I get them again. I tell them where to go. But yeah, I mean, pretty much this is what I love to carry around.
Well, I wanted to I took a little dip into my archives before jumping on with you, and wanted to share something. This is like from 2004, many, many years ago. After college, I had a fellowship to travel and paint. And just like ink sketching is something I've always enjoyed. This is the Potala Palace in Tibet. And that sense of like expressiveness, and this was done with just brush and sumi ink, but it's part of what draws me to playing with a pen like this, because there's times when, you're up in the mountains. I had this in a little video I posted on our Instagram, when, I don't want to necessarily be messing around with bringing my dip ink and and brush and or pulling it out all the time. And so this is a great big panorama. And like things too, here's my comfort zone, painting trees and mountains
Yeah.
are so much fun to express because you get that tip of kind of going in with your straight line and getting those nice dancing little scribbly marks that start to build up a form. And then that watercolor can really bring it to life and highlight it. And since I brought that out too, something I often like sketching with ink, and I'll zoom in a little here, is toned paper. Do you do much work on toned paper, Che?
Only not necessarily. I usually tone, if I do a watercolor, usually when I do like my live drawing classes, then I would, but I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, it's just something I've always liked, and often carry a little bit of gouache, or I'll leave a little spot of gouache in my watercolor palette. And then I find this pen, the one thing I do find about this pen is it likes best being on a less toothy paper, where, or just pens in general, where you can let the point glide a little bit more over the surface. And so I'll carry two papers I really like. One is a Canson Mitiente. Do you know how to say that, Che?
Okay.
Canson
You had it
Mitiente.
right.
It's like a
Mitiente,
yeah, Mitiente. It's
correct.
like a pastel paper, I think, and I love it for like light wash and watercolor. And the other one I like is called Arches Cover, which is, it's made by Arches, who makes watercolor paper, and it's a little bit heavier than the Canson, and comes in this gorgeous cream. And once, laying something on one of these papers, I'll pull in a little color. I love having that quick, bold, start of the ink, and it dries fast too. No bleeding here.
Well, I noticed actually some comic book guys, I follow some comic book people, and they actually some of them use this brush pen because it's very black, and it's very easy to use.
Oh, cool. I'm not as familiar as much with that world, but cool stuff. And then kind of in contrast to the final layer for me, in contrast to protecting my whites, I'll add in my whites at the very end. And I just find it a fun approach for my little landscape habits.
Yeah.
You know me.
I know you turned me on to that cover, Arches cover, which was I mean, it's not like watercolor paper, it's not, but it does take ink quite well.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem with art friends, man. Che, you get me hooked on all these things.
Oh, this is what it's about, right?
I know. It's so fun to have some new things to play with sometimes. And, I think too, while we're still not traveling as much, having some new tools to explore the world a little differently, or like push your comfort zone, can be a fun way to shake yourself up a little bit.
No, exactly.
Oh, I love your graphic approach there, Che.
Oh, yeah, I'm just listening to you and just jamming. I'm not, this is fun, because usually it's hard to step away from the family since we're all home with each other, and just kind of get you a little bit of a breather from the everyday life.
Do you have any tips for sketching people portraits?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is you want to simplify in the very beginning. You want to simplify it. So, eventually you draw enough and it becomes second nature, where you know exactly where things go.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say, let's get a new piece of paper here. The head is broken up into thirds. So we start with a circle, and then so we cut that circle in half there. One half, second half, and then the bottom half here. So you kind of measure, it's right here, and then you can do like a quick little, you know, if you more angles and it becomes a man, if it's kind of very soft and then it's more like a woman. I call it like Superman and Wonder Woman because, you know, I when I started drawing, it was because of comic books. And so the rough kind of proportions is going to be, you have the center circle there, that's the top of the brow, right? So if you measure your head, top of the brow to the top of your head, that's 1. The brow to your tip of your nose is 2, and the tip of your nose to your chin is 3. So everything is broke down to thirds. And so, so the bottom of the circle here will be just like a little V where the nose is, and then right in the middle between the chin and the tip of the nose is the roughly where the mouth is. And then you put a line in between the bottom of the circle and the half circle right down here, and then this is where the eyes would sit, and then your ears, that kind of stuff. So what happens eventually is that this little guide that I did right now, it's kind of ingrained in my head. It just becomes like an overlay, right? And so I don't have to draw it this every single time. Now, this is kind of how I start when I teach my classes and how to draw a person. But again, then you got people that have longer noses, or their eyes are closer together, further apart, they have a longer chin or just a longer head. So, but that's just kind of the starting point of where I start, right? And the thing goes all the way across. So if you do the same thing, and this time it's going to be a side profile, right? Everything goes right across from here, the nose, the mouth, the eyes, right? And then the ear is not necessarily right in the back of the head. It's almost a little bit further, right? A little bit, not necessarily in the center of the circle, but a little bit to the left side. So everything kind of varies, but in general, that's how I kind of start. And this is how, you know, eventually you draw enough, and that's kind of, because the faces don't vary. The face, I mean, you have an eye, you have 2 eyes, you have a nose and a mouth, right? So that part doesn't change. What changes is the expression. What changes is the eyes. Are they open? Are they closed? The nose, is it a big nose? The profile of the nose, is it a short nose? Is it a long nose? The mouth, you know, are their lips full? The bottom lip, the lower and upper lip, the lower lip. You know, all these things vary, but those are the small little details. But as long as you have 2 eyes, a mouth, and a nose, it's a person, right? And even you don't even have to worry too much about drawing. What if we just do like this egg shape, right? And what if I just do blocking things in? So one part's in shadow, right? So all of a sudden, what does that read like?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a face.
It's
That's
so
a face.
strong and fast.
Right. It doesn't, you don't have to spell out every single thing. Your mind naturally puts all that stuff in. So don't feel like you have to, you know, oh, this person's got wrinkles or this. It's, you know, just put in the shape, lights and darks, and then you can go ahead and start putting a little more details to give it a little bit more structure. But in general, you block everything in, just like in watercolors or in painting, you block everything in, and then you start with the details, or the jewelry stage. You know, the jewelry, you don't put your jewelry on right in the very beginning. You put the jewelry on at the very end once you're to kind of set up the ensemble. So, you know, I don't wear jewelry often, just in the weekends, special occasions. I get my, I take out my pearls. But you know, again, it's about how simple, you know, 2 eyes and mouth and a nose, you know.
Oh man, that just comes together so quickly, and it reminds me of something another friend of mine told me years ago. Do you know Tom Hoffman, watercolor?
Yes.
Yeah. I took a workshop with him many years ago, and he told me that big brushes make for big ideas or big tools, or so it reminds me that it's worth sometimes having a bold tool just to get those big ideas, and seeing those big bold shadows that just comes together so quickly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And what it does is eventually shadows run down the face like water down a waterfall. So they're not going to start and stop. They are going to flow. So if you see people that are paintings are, you know, or shadows, they're going to flow down the face. So you want to connect everything. The only thing that might not connect is the opposite eye, but in general, you can even connect that by just putting a little bit of Maybe they're wearing sunglasses or glasses or something. Right? But in general, that's it. That's easy. And just practice this shadows and light. Look at look at people next to you. Look at your husband, your wife, your kids. What's great is Starbucks or coffee. Back in the day, back
Back
when
in
we
the
used to go
olden
with
days.
back in the old days, because people do not when they're at Starbucks or they're drinking coffee or something, they're just standing still. They're on their phone or they're talking to a friend. So it's like life drawing because they don't move. It's great. And then you get to hear some interesting conversations, to say the least, because you're focused looking at somebody, right? And rarely do they actually see you. Rarely do they notice you. The people that do notice are the ones that are maybe artists themselves, and they kind
Yeah.
of go, oh. But usually think about it, we don't notice. We're in our phones, But as an artist, you're looking around. I'm not, I'm looking around at the shadows and lights, the clouds, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, you're super inspiring me. I wish my daughter would sit just a little bit more still.
Well, yeah, no,
But
at that age you can, girl. At that age you just.
yeah, yeah. And with this, like you can use, like a heavier moleskin or something, but you can also just use a real simple sketchbook, like you had pulled out, more of like a little pamphlet style
Yeah,
where.
this is that I think this is Cashier sketchbook from
Hmm.
Moleskine, and so I
Yeah.
just and this is just my playing around, mess around
And the
paper.
cool thing is that you can still add a little ink wash if you want to that. I mean, a
Oh yeah,
tiny little like one light wash, not multiple layer after layer.
right.
But
No, correct. It's just play around. What you can also do is listen. I followed this artist named David Cho. If you're not familiar with him, look him up.
David
He
Cho,
was
uh-huh.
David Cho. Oh my god! But he's pretty crazy. But he just goes in here and just does like he's Instagram. He does Instagram like videos or just like posts, like kind of like what you do. And he's just like, today I'm feeling angry, and he could be very aware. He does swear a lot. He was the guy that did the murals for Facebook, and
Uh-huh.
so he they asked him, would you like $20,000 or $30,000, or would you like stock? It's like, I'm almost gonna waste it on booze and women, so just give me the stock. So they went public. He became an instant millionaire. Um, but he just kind of, you see him, he's just kind of like, I'm feeling angry. I'm doing this, he's just doing this kind of stuff. He goes, okay, now, I'm using my fingers. He just does all this. And then he goes, okay, what do I see? I see, I'm always seeing a portrait of a face. I see a face in here. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this face that I see. Maybe it's very angry. And so what this does is just make a mark and see what you can create. Don't feel like you got to sit down and put your beret on and get your small little, cigarettes and start, like honey, give me 30 minutes. I need to create a masterpiece. Just like, I'm just going to
Uh-huh.
create something. It doesn't matter. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Sometimes we put too much pressure about these things, um, and just
Okay.
have fun.
I just got to say something you said earlier one more time because I thought it was so beautiful that shadows fall down a face like water from a waterfall. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's really
Patent
beautiful.
pending.
Mm-hmm.
Patent pending. I don't know if I
I'll
made.
send you a sticker every time. Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that was my own made up thing, but more than likely I heard it from somewhere. But and if someone, well, I don't. Who knows? I mean, as an artist, don't we might think we are very unique and original, but really, caveman, we're doing this kind of stuff, and we just have better tools. But we just draw what we like. Don't feel. Um, and they just do this, and this guy's got just, we'll just make this person look at this. Oh, hair's me flowing this way. Why not?
But what this
We
comes down to is just like what you can do really quickly with some simple tools to practice and play and loosen up and have some fun with it.
yeah, light and dark. Use the
Uh-huh.
use the edge of the Pentel brush pen or the brush pen, and no, I'm so stoked that you're adding this to the set, because that I think, to me, now it completes it. And I didn't know that it. Yeah. I didn't know how much it completed until you called me and you go, Che, I'm adding it. I said, you didn't add it already? I was already like, I thought you did probably, but I'm glad that you did.
Oh, well, Che, I mean, you have been a serious inspiration to me since we first met, and from your colors and approach. And one thing I really love about your work is that bold kind of fearlessness, that you're not afraid to dive in and you make those marks. And that step can feel scary sometimes, and like, you know, tackling that blank page. But the more you just let things build up and play and make confident marks, they come together. And practice.
Right. I think what happens is that in school we are told to stay within the lines. We are told there's always one way to do something, and I think we have to teach our kids that there are multiple ways of thinking. There are multiple ways to create a mark. Don't feel, like there's just one way. Experiment. Be you. Right. The design elements do not change. Right. So you need contrast. You need lights and darks. You need color. But other than that, everything else is just a mark. Everything else is just a mark. It's you can use your fingers. You can spit on it. Whatever you like. There's no wrong way to make a mark. And I think sometimes we put these kind of expectations of what art is.
Yeah.
Art is what we make of it.
Yeah, for sure. Make your mark. I thought I would dip back into my little personal comfort zone a little bit here, just to noodle
okay,
around.
Girl. Okay, you know what? Want to make trees? Let's make some trees, girl. I got you.
Oh no, you can make trees. I've seen your landscapes. You rock those.
I try not to be boring in my classes. We paint everything, it's like, and actually that's the nice thing about teaching is that you force yourself to draw different things. So notice, see, I got this one tree here has the cartridge fully is full. This one is not full. See how it's creating a little sense of depth, right? Just because, see, you make fun of my multiple brushes because I'm able to create different lines.
I never make fun of you.
Well, you should have made fun of me more. It's fun that way. Now that's your personality, girl. You're very sweet. So, but not me. I'm a mean.
Oh no, I'll give you a little hard time. I can give it and I can take it.
I know you can. There's some trees for. I'll put a mountain over here because I know how you like your mountains.
I do like my mountains. Someone once called me Maria Coriel Mountain.
That's funny. That actually fits you. I'm not sure why you should get that website. That should be your new artist page.
CorielMountain.org.
CorielMountain.org. .edu.
Well, I was checking out your website. What do you have there? Paint like a champ, not a chump.
That's right. There are trained and untrained. Who do you want to be?
Strong words. I love it.
That's right. That's what happens with your boxing coach. Just that, you got to find these ways. Also, my favorite one is suck less. Suck less is that's just great for any occasion, for any sort of time in your life.
You're really bringing on the Friday inspiration.
Good. We get inspired. There we go. There's I'm putting your trees. I'll put the right little fence post or something.
Yeah, your mountain. You're going into foreground.
That's about depth. It's about depth. Put some birds. See, you didn't put any birds up. You got to put some birds up.
I'll get some little birds. I can see your birds.
I will raise you one bird.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and put Bigfoot or the Northwest Yeti over here. He's gonna be right there. He's gonna be like looking over, going, "Hey guys, what about me?"
Little Sasquatch.
Little Northwest. I like calling the Northwest Yeti. I don't know why. I started saying that.
Well, you're a Northwest guy. You've got the.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I am the brown Sasquatch. Yeah, that's correct.
Brown and bald.
Brown and bald.
Sasquatch.
Bald Ross.
Oh, so cool. Well, yeah. Anything else we should do here? You've got any other noodling around we want to share? It's just been so much fun to Play
No,
a
I mean,
little and
yeah. Well, and I think this is the nice thing about this is just creating these different shapes and not really, not
yeah.
really caring too much, just burning through paper, don't,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that the biggest thing I can say is just have fun. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all have enough problems to worry about. Let's just enjoy the process.
Here, I
And no
brought up,
matter, yeah,
this might look familiar. Recognize that?
well, I can't see my phone, but
Oh, 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 oh.
oh,
It's a
there.
little,
Oh, yes, yes.
a
Now I
little
see it. Yes.
gasworks. Yeah, yeah.
Gasworks. Oh yeah, was that when we painted at the red mill? Is that when you were fully
I,
pregnant, right?
I might have been pregnant. This might have been like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah. We
yeah,
stopped
just
at red
real,
mill.
real quick,
Yes.
throwing, but trying to have some of those quick and bold lines. And when I work this way, I do like that the pen, the bold marks are this framework, the skeleton that the colors can, be thrown on top. And it doesn't matter sketching with pen if you go over and do more lines, because when you add color, you can just add the color within whatever you want. You don't need to color in all the other lines. And that's something, just when I work with a pen like this, I don't start with pencil. I go immediately in with pen.
The pencil slows us down.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially with kids, who's got time to slow down?
Right. So here, yeah, like this is my sketchbook here, and so you can see, like this is a little Cuba sketch here,
Oh, cool.
and so using the Pentel brush pen, and I use the gray one there, um,
Mm-hmm.
to create a little volume. But this is like my thumbnails here for my paintings, and so I just do a little drawing sketch, and then I put some black ink on top of it to kind of give it a little bit more structure for
Yeah.
my sketches. And so that to me is fun to do, because it does dry lighter a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and so it does give it that kind of watercolor look. It's not just a dark like India ink. It's not quite India ink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, those came together really nicely.
But yeah, I do. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have too many of this one now. I redesigned my studio for the fact that I'm doing a lot of online classes, so everything has been changing.
I just saw a question about the ink cartridges. So on these, they are little cartridges that just pop in and out. And something that I've found is with my traveling, I haven't had this particular pen explode, which I've had, Che, you can attest to this, some very fussy pens such as Rapidograph. I don't think I have it right at my fingertips right now, but that would explode. And this one, in my personal experience at altitude, I haven't had any trouble with it. You do need new cartridges for new ink. Che, you've just pulled out some of those ink refills. I did read online somewhere that like some people have taken a little needle and refilled their own. That isn't something I personally have experimented yet with. So if that's something you want to try, I would suggest doing a little reading up. But I love that the whole rest of the pen is reusable, and tip seems to last a long time.
Yes, no, it does. I think I have one of the originals. I'm not sure where it is, but I can tell because this part got loose. But that's the only part that bothers me when I'm moving around and painting. It gives you that little wobble that I don't like too much. But other than that, the pen, I mean, I was expecting the pen to dry out at some point if I don't use it for a while, but no, it stays there. It's great.
Yeah. Well, gosh, Jay, I think we wrap this up. I've really enjoyed getting to chat with you, and thanks so much for sharing your work, and especially your approach to portraits and those strong shadows. Those are just gorgeous. And someday I hope I can take one of your workshops on painting or sketching. You do a lot of strong,
Well,
really inspiring work. And
no, we just meet up, girl. Once this whole foolishness is over, we're just gonna meet up. That's it. Enough is enough.
yeah,
We're gonna make it happen.
I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, and I did just see a tip from someone saying if you refill that the brush ink is specially formulated. So like I said, I don't offer any personal experience or endorsement there. I'm happy doing the little cartridges. I think that they're pretty minimal and last a really long time.
They do last a long time, or I would have figured out already how to do that.
Yeah. And if anyone has good experiences with refilling that you want to share, go ahead and drop me a direct message or email me. I'd love to hear about your experiences. And yeah, Che, good luck with everything you've got coming up, and keep in touch. I always love hearing your news and your family, and seeing all your beautiful
you too,
work.
girl. Yeah, well, I've taken a little break since I start my new gig. I'm an art teacher, and I'm a high school art teacher now. So now I take a little break from social media because I'm no longer have to worry about filling my classes. I got one job versus my 10 jobs that I had before.
Oh,
so it feels good. It feels good, but I'm still going to paint and do this stuff. But I'm excited for the next chapter of my life, which is, getting the kids ready for life through art. So
they're going to be so lucky to have you, Che, and I'm glad to know there's inspiring people like yourselves out working with the younger folks. We need that
with the youths. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, keep it up. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. If you're interested in the brush pen, we do have a number available in our arttoolkit.com shop. And if you have any questions, please DM me and get in touch. And oh, what are you writing there?
Get yours now. That's what he's saying. Love, Che.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, I love you, Che. Thanks so much again for jumping on with me.
Of course, girl.